don't know how they would have said 3 and Dracula would have done it.
He would have gone,
Welcome
Tuli! Ah!
to a video. Yes!
Don't
We're
do
back.
it. Actually, what do you mean
I'm
we're back?
It's been a week, Harry. A whole week.
Yeah, not for me. It's been
Yeah.
however long it was. It's been like two days.
Oh, it's not. Oh, right. Yeah, I guess there was news.
Yeah, exactly. Idiot.
All right.
So actually, you can
haven't
explain
actually
what we're
seen
doing
that.
today. What? It's in what?
Your news video.
Oh, do you want me to? Actually, we can actually put that in here.
All right.
Not it. I mean one specific part of it, which is going to help us a little bit. I think maybe, somewhat.
Because it does relate, right?
Well, the Rogue Core
with what we're
segment
doing today.
relates, obviously.
Yeah.
As it will for the foreseeable future.
I think we are running through everything that we know. Yeah.
I wouldn't actually put it like that. It's
Or
kind of true, but that would be
have
more
seen...
like that would be everything we know would be me like scouring through a lot of stuff, right? This is very much so focused on everything that we have been. Shut the fuck up.
Have ever answered.
This is everything that's been shown so far.
Yeah.
From Rogue Core. And I want to really put a big caveat on that. Everything you're going to see in this video is not actually from the game. Like, none of it.
And very liable to change, especially the early stuff.
Oh yeah, we'll get into it how long it's been since that stuff was actually first shown in a minute. But the reason why we're doing this though is because everything that's going to be covered in this video, every sort of thing we're going to throw out there, every kind of idea or even potential theories, any shit like that, will all be like hopefully dispelled / uncovered soon. And I want to take this last opportunity, especially with Frederick, who is one of the art directors at Ghost Ship on Twitter, just posting concept art every day. I wanted to take advantage of that. Yes, his Twitter will be in the description. Go follow him. He's really cool. He posts lots of concept art.
Actually, it's called X now. Oh.
Shut the fuck up, nerd.
I mean, that's a lot coming from the guy who actually uses it. I don't use X, formerly known as Twitter.
Yeah, but you're not a nerd for using Twitter. And also, you just said X, formerly known as Twitter. You should just. I hope someone sinks your house.
Oh.
But basically, I thought it was appropriate to take one last look at everything that we've seen so far, before we actually see Rogue Core, which we will do this coming Thursday. And we will, because I actually do want to start with that short description of what's upcoming in the below decks on the horizon, just to sort of set the stage and provide a more informed backdrop to what we're actually going to be doing. So first of all, this stream is happening on Thursday the 21st, starts at 1 PM Central Eastern Time, therefore that's... Oh no, so it's at 2 PM for them, 1 PM for us.
Yep.
And the first hour will be more miscellaneous, and there is no defined end time for it either. I think that's actually important to note, because basically the first hour is miscellaneous, and then at the turning of the hour, 3 PM for them, 2 PM for us, they're going to switch over to Rogue Core, and there's no defined endpoint for the stream after that. It's just... Now, I don't know what that really means in terms of timing, but I don't think it means it's going to be short, right? Because they've opened themselves up to basically... I'll just read it. From 3 PM onwards, State of Rogue Core. We'll look at where we're at with Rogue Core, including discussions of the art, design, lore, and gameplay so far. Actually, hold on. That's the wrong description. Here it is. State of Rogue Core. Mick will take the stage again for a big update on how Rogue Core's coming along. We'll talk about where we're at in production, share screenshots and footage from the game, and discuss different aspects of the game's design, art, and lore. We'll save time for a little Q&A afterwards. Basically, perfect, first of all.
Exactly what we were hoping for.
It's a combination of screenshots and footage, and you assume that the footage and screenshots will relate to the stuff they're going to be talking about. So, and they're talking about design. So that's like game design, mechanic-wise, art, style, and lore. The fact that lore is propped up at all.
I mean, from what we have heard, lore is actually a thing.
Yeah, I know, and that's why I feel kind of validated. I imagine there's going to be a little bit of that trickling throughout this, sort of the first bunch of screenshots, I'd imagine, we're going to be looking at.
And I assume the screenshots will probably just show us stuff that videos either there's no point in a video doing it, or like it would be hard to video it. So like something we will see on this, like menus and that will probably be more screenshots and stuff like that. I think anything that would benefit from a video is probably what we're going to see, like creatures, so on and so forth, right? The creature.
Anyway, I think we should start with what Tyler can't see, which is this one screenshot from the original Rogue Core trailer. And I'm just going to keep this really brief, because basically this is actually the only original bit of footage we have related to Rogue Core. It's not going to be in the game, I don't think. It's a pretty standard, like, essentially a cutscene. Obviously, it's from a trailer, so it's not really a cutscene. But it shows the Ramrod, the Dwarven Reclaimer ship, just coming into view with Hoxies, basically. It's very simple, right? I don't think it really means much. The Ramrod may or may not look like that. Even if it does, it doesn't. There's nothing really unique about it, aside from that it's a ship as opposed to a space station. It's really just the background image for this video, so just feel free to gaze upon it. At the around the edges of what we're actually talking about, which is all the other stuff.
Yeah, so probably shouldn't do that. Focus more on the bits in the middle.
Yeah,
that's what we're going to be talking about.
Oh yeah. We're going to talk about this thing. Talking about this guy's finger. See, I can draw stuff now. We're talking about whatever the hell this guy is. The gun down here, as you can see, and upgrades, which are probably none of these are probably in the game anymore. Let's be honest.
Yeah, which we'll get to.
Yeah. Either way, we're going to start at the very beginning. So what the hell is this? As in, actually, I can even say. First of all, when is this? This is October last year. This is which is crazy, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, this is in-game, though, isn't it?
So this is important to talk about. So when they first revealed Rogue Core, they talked about how they've been prototyping the game. And I guess that means very much so still within DRG's engine. Now, they never actually explained exactly what these screenshots are. I personally believe they are actually not from playable footage. I think they're like 3D mockups, if you know what I mean. Like made inside the engine, but they're like basically sets that they can take photos of, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is. I don't know. We have to take that with a grain of salt. It's chance that these are from playable prototypes, but they actually look... That's the thing. These looked quite finished at the time for, like, basically...
Yeah, that is
how early they were supposed to be.
Like, designed pistol in his hand right there.
Yeah.
Like, that is a new weapon.
In case you didn't know where it was. Oh, shit.
You got to add a big red arrow as well, just in case. Need to know where.
Hold on, it's going to be so big. It's going to be like.
Yeah. Perfect. Yeah.
Actually, we can talk about that, can't we?
What the existence of, like, I don't know, the universal pistol.
Yeah.
That's probably a way to put it.
Yeah, the Reclaimer pistol. It's like the first weapon that they've shown us.
It's like when you go into the cave, that pistol is it, right? That's the only weapon you have access to.
Yeah, the understanding we have. Well, actually, no. Hold on a minute. Hold on, you silly goose.
Oh no, I'm holding on.
Because they basically, I watched the original like Rogue Core segment from that stream last year, and they said that the Reclaimer pistol is one of them. You make two loadout choices in Rogue Core. As far as we know, once again, this is all subject to change, and it's all going to be like confirmed or deconfirmed very shortly. This video has a short window to be important. But they said that you have basically two main choices that you make loadout wise, which is your Reclaimer weapon and your like Reclaimer suit ability. I can't remember the exact name of it, but it's just like an ability. It's
like an alt.
Yeah,
right,
basically.
in a game.
Yeah, and that was also specifically Reclaimer weapons is actually an important phrasing, because they also explained how, obviously, I would imagine every weapon from DRG will be in the game, but they did say those weapons that you're familiar with will not be ones that you would be starting with. I think what you find will be a mixture of new and old DRG weapons, but the starting weapons are all going to be Reclaimer weapons. And this is the Reclaimer pistol. So you have to assume it's either going to be the thing that everyone starts with as far as progress goes. I think that would probably be the case. which means it could end up also being like the weakest of the bunch if it's very deliberately like every player has this and they have to unlock all the other starting weapons as they go through. I think when you have that kind of type of progression in a game like this, you can excuse the starting one being weaker. Whereas in DRG, obviously, they're all meant to be like equal, roughly.
You used unlock. What do you mean? What do you?
Well, if there's multiple reclaimer weapons, I would imagine that you wouldn't start with all of them available to shoot to start with.
Right. I think we have different pictures of this, and obviously neither of us are correct. I just didn't think we had a different idea. I saw it as you, no matter what, will always have the reclaimer pistol to start the match because you need a weapon to exist, right? And then you have this other reclaimer weapon. Which sure you might not have access to all of them at the beginning, like maybe you need to level up and then you can pick and choose. But these reclaimer weapons are like more special and require special bullets and they're like stronger. But you like wouldn't have access to them for like the first like bit. Like they wouldn't be particularly useful. They're just there. That's how I saw them. But were you thinking that you basically you start the game like the first couple runs with the pistol, but then you would never use the pistol again, basically?
Well, that's the thing. That is actually what I was thinking just now. But I guess I would also say probably don't want it to be like that. You know, even though it's a starting weapon, you'd probably still want it to have legs. Yeah, I don't know if that's the approach they're going for, is to necessarily like, that you would just automatically drop it. But I do still kind of think I might be right in that.
You could be. I'm running off of
it'd be progress based.
The Gunfire Reborn pistol, right? Where it's like you have a pistol with infinite ammo, which is already fairly disproved by the big fat 100 on that gun, but it's just a pistol that like.
Wait, what's that arrow going?
Yeah.
Hold on. Okay,
it's just completely pointing to the wrong thing. But you have a pistol where, like, if all else fails, you still have a weapon, but it is hardly the best thing. I think that was
they did cite Gunfire Reborn though very early on as one of their core inspirations as well.
That's why I connect them.
Yeah, well, I do think the reclaimer pistol has something to do with that, even if it's not infinite ammo. Yeah, we don't exactly know. We don't really know how it's going to work. Once again, won't be too long. We could talk briefly about environment. I assume that this like machinery is once again a quick mock-up of like stuff that's kind of already in DRG. But then again, I wouldn't say I recognise the model of these like minecarts. But this is
but also I feel like the minecarts are slightly half-baked.
Yes, they are. They're definitely not how they're going to look in the final version. In fact, I do believe there was another bit of footage from when they did a sound design below decks thing, where it's like a machine that sort of brings stuff down. Actually, that wouldn't make too much sense because basically, I know what these are. These are the molly replacement, actually. As in Rogue Core, there's no molly. Sorry, junkies.
Oh no.
There's no molly. Instead, you'll deposit whatever you've collected. Which, by the way, I remember when I was watching the video last night, the segment from the stream, they talked about how in their prototypes, the only mineral that they had in the game was Expedite. I think that's going to change completely. Not only because we actually do see some red sugar in these screenshots later on, but also, I feel like gold, first of all. There's no way you're leaving out gold. It's just impossible.
Well, I feel like
unless you want to upstage gold somehow.
Yeah, or no, like that's what I was thinking. Like maybe gold is like gets refined further the deeper you go into like a super mineral, like I don't know, bigger gold. Big gold.
But what I meant by these being the molly replacement is that these are deposit points. So at the end of each run, or not run, at the end of each stage where you deposit, and therefore I think also we'll end up buying. Or choosing upgrades, I think. And I assume there's two. I assume that's because it's like a thing about you can only deposit, only one person can deposit at a time. I assume it's just a thing like to streamline depositing. So, but then again, if there's 4 people, that would still mean 2 people would have to wait for the others to finish depositing.
I think it is weird then that there's actually more infrastructure down in this core area than like up in More
Well,
surface,
yeah. I
where
think
they
I
just
think
use
the
all the
idea.
time.
Look at that. I think the
Wow.
idea is that DRG had started these mining operations like pretty fast and loose, and they got a lot of stuff down there. But when they started working, shit went sideways pretty quickly as well. So they set up some stuff pretty quickly, but when they started working, then shit got fuzzy. So there is a lot of like
They're only
abandoned
sending
stuff
the
down there.
repayments down where they had set up work previously, so at least it's that. So they know
Yeah.
at least what they're going into.
Yeah, and I would say also, just in a general sense, probably early, if not first stage environment-wise, if this is anything to speak of. They did have the idea of which by the way,
I mean, it's
I
very
hope
bland,
it's been
isn't it?
retained. It's easily my favorite idea about Rogue Core so far is the idea of the wall that you face in the first stage before you go into like basically the core area. Which makes me. This is very much like this could easily be like the radioactive exclusion zone or something. That's what it kind of looks like.
It does very seem it. It's got the particles and
I would say even just
color wall.
barely, maybe some of the small green crystals. Either way, I think that's enough on that one. It gets exciting pretty quickly. Oh my god, look at that. There you go. I remember now. I have a really specific memory of this. I remember.
This...
I mean, I don't know what you remember about it, obviously, because you were watching this live, and I think there were weird feelings at that time, but yeah.
Yeah, sitting there, like skiving whatever I think I was supposed to have done, just because I wanted to be there to see it, and seeing that they announcing a new game instead of season 5, I did shit myself a little bit, but then I did see this. And they obviously said that, like, even then, they knew this was going to change. Like, that this is a mock-up, like, hard.
Oh yeah,
this
is a hard mock-up. This is absolutely not an interactable menu. This is graphics and design, like, made in... Could be made in Photoshop, frankly.
If you want to try and, like, look past all the graphics for a second, the background is someone with the reclaimer pistol. And that could be a green glowing crystal in the background there. So that could very well be just in the radioactive exclusion zone.
Yeah, it's essentially the same picture, almost.
Probably, yeah, almost though, but so it's not quite. So I think it is quite likely that they just used the biome and just created a environment, and then they put this on top.
Yeah,
but
my my memory of this was I basically was watching it on the bus on the way home on my phone, and this is the first thing I saw because obviously I didn't have time to like rewind it immediately. So it immediately showed this on screen. I paused it immediately. I did have an immediate thought, like, what the fuck is that? Is that is that the perk rework? That was my first thought about. That was the first thought I had related to Rogue Core.
Yeah, which is fair, because it feels like the perk rework has ran itself into becoming a whole new fucking game. Because
kind of, yeah. That's actually a really horrible way to see it.
Yeah.
A mock-up of basically the upgrade menu. Actually, they called it the negotiation menu because a big aspect of Rogue Core that I imagine they haven't dropped because it seemed like they were pretty sold on this is how upgrades are shared and delegated, basically. Rather, as you can see, I don't think this is an accident. You have Mikkel here is selecting Sweet Surrender. That means that's the one that he's going to get. This is a selection of upgrades that there's only one of each here, and people have to choose one, and that means they can't choose the one that someone else is choosing. Basically, it's like a limited selection.
And I think they have, obviously, you can see a liked system. So going into it, you can see what people, because I think if we were to I'll just make this up, Mikkel is going for a tank build, right?
Yeah.
But at the bottom he has Bastion, 100% damage, and which a fat fucking chance of this that is busted as hell.
While
damage
standing still.
Standing still. Sure, but that's still really fucking strong. Double damage, and half.
Especially with time
received.
dilation.
Yeah.
Because it's not like you need to move when you're slowing everything down anyway.
Yeah.
Which is why there's so much to cover in this screen. There's so much to cover.
Yeah, and he's picked the thing. And the thing is then You can only pick one each. So there will be one upgrade that never gets picked, and chances are it's going to be the fucking.
I don't remember them saying if it's one each, because that would make it interesting, wouldn't it? If this was like these were
look
all
at the top
up
next
for...
to their names.
Oh, you're
That's
right.
what I'm going off of.
That tells you Mickle's selection basically. It's also grayed out because of that. So yeah, okay, it's definitely one each.
Unsure as to whether you can unselect it. Because maybe someone might convince them. Like, preferably you wouldn't be locked in until everyone's locked in. But then again, some people might refuse to lock in because they didn't get what they want. So unsure there. But yeah, it's basically this is, let's be honest, risky.
Yeah.
Right.
I think they're very much so relying on the wholesome community.
Yeah, like this is I mean, I'm going to be kind of annoyed and would be a bit stroppy with my teammates when I don't know, I do like the look of Sweet Surrender. I would really want that. And if someone else picked it, I would be pretty pissed. Like, and then because especially if
that's
like,
what you go without this selection, and
there are very specific
expertise.
Like basically, you could have someone in your team that just I don't know, they're like really. Like the sweaty balls man, and they're like really quick on the reaction, and they just click legendary, boom, legendary gone every time. And that person has all legendaries, while like you and your teammates are fighting for like an epic like every so often because you're fighting amongst yourselves, like that kind of thing. I mean, I don't know, it's risky. It really is that you got to rely on all your teammates being all right, which obviously with friends it's actually going to be quite fun, I think. Being able to like barter, divvy up like builds basically, right? That I would often end up being a tank. I like that play style.
Yeah, we're definitely going to have to wrangle someone.
Yeah.
We definitely have to wrangle at least a third speaking player, I think. I don't know how we can
always get James.
Got PC?
He's got PC.
Oh shit.
Yeah, mate, he's got like a $2,000 PC and has that for like a year.
I imagine he'll be willing to try with us, at least. Yeah. Long range expertise, I think I can see myself going down sniper type route, especially if they allow that. You know, be like more like long range weapons, sniper type weapons that aren't just the M1000. I'm going to be pretty happy about, I think, because the M1000 does not really scratch that itch.
And then I think you then have to like keep in mind, because if we look at the bottom right corner, he's got the Reclaimer pistol, which I don't know if that still reinforces my thing that you would just always have that pistol.
I think,
but he's also got. Well, actually, it almost disproves my previous thing, because he would have a Reclaimer pistol and a Reclaimer something else, and then a weapon in the cave. Because they said that you're not like that is the smart rifle, right?
Mm-hmm.
That right there, yeah, and that means that's not a Reclaimer weapon because of what they said. So you actually might be right, which would be interesting because it means that pistol is going to be like viable. Like should be as viable as all the other Reclaimer weapons, which would be quite interesting. But
do you like that?
Yeah, smart rifle, which I think is an interesting one to put in there because it basically does say that all of the guns are going to be in there.
Yeah, to be fair though, that's fair. That's a fair thing to say, but it's also fair to mention the fact that they wouldn't have had any other weapons made at this point, like modelled, so like new ones. So they probably should just throw in.
I wouldn't expect new ones, but like if you were putting like the flamethrower, honestly, that really wouldn't have yes, the flamethrower was going to be in the game.
Like the flamethrower or the minigun, right? Obviously, they're going to be in there.
The smart rifle is Gen 3, which basically guarantees all the previous gens. Like it's also kind of one of the weirdest ones, and so if you're putting that in the game, then you don't have to worry about like breach
it's like if they put the smart rifle or like the wave cooker in there, then you're like, oh, okay. But basically, I do think it's important to talk about this briefly because this is like I remember them talking about this, which is equipment selection, and as long as it hasn't changed, once again, as a constant caveat, but I think it's still worth hammering it in. As long as it hasn't changed, basically, I think how Rogue Core works is you have like 3 slots, and that includes equipment that you can find. So now this is something that we do know, once again, subject to change, but you don't start with a traversal tool. You start with your Reclaimer weapon, and that's why I do think you might be able to change the pistol, to be honest, because I think you always have a Reclaimer weapon and your ability. But I think you do have 2 slots, and that can be taken up by weapons or tools, which is kind of wild, actually. Because like, why don't I just take 2 weapons? It's like, well, you might actually want to, because the tools might actually be useful enough. And that's cool.
Yeah, well, yeah,
I
I
think
think
these two
that's
specifically are not biased slots. Basically, is what I'm saying, based on what I know.
yeah. I mean, if you remember, that's also, I mean, not equipment-wise because that wasn't a thing, but 3 slots, 1 fixed was Gunfire Reborn as well. That's how they ran it.
Yeah.
And then like each weapon would have like an ammo type. For that, it was like light, medium, and heavy. This might be a bit more specific.
Well,
It might do like
that's why I
plasma,
think fixed
stuff
slot
like
is
that.
reclaim a weapon, and that's why I don't think you're gonna be finding reclaim. I think there will be. By the way, I think there's gonna be a lot of new weapons that aren't just reclaimer weapons too. I want to point that out. But I think there'll be reclaimer weapons.
And we already we know one, right?
Do we?
They're adding, yeah, they're adding a bolt gun, right? I swear I heard that they were testing a bolt gun.
Yeah, we don't know if that's. We don't explicitly know if that's a reclaimer weapon or not, though.
No, yeah, no. But that, if anything, yeah, or either or, you know, if it's not a reclaimer one, then it's just going to be throwing in the normal pool. But there'd definitely be other weapons, more than just Deep Rock.
Yeah, because if I'm right, the reclaimed weapons will not be found. They will only be and you choose between them for your fixed slot. That means there'll definitely be more than just the original Deep Rock weapons to find in the caves as well. So yeah. And by that logic, I would also imagine more tools. And honestly, I almost find that more enticing.
We don't think we know why. But yeah, because obviously the walls fall down quite a lot, right? Because they're gonna be able to make a lot more weapons in this game. Because, I mean, like.
They're not going to have I think overclocks will be
overclocks.
Well, I think overclocks will be integrated in some fashion. But
yeah.
Mod trees will not be the same at all. It's all going to be done through these kind of upgrades, I assume. That are just sort of iterative of the weapons stats. You know.
I do also like. I do have to wonder why, like, it's really specific, but like. The backgrounds of the weapons, right? I feel like that green wiry thing, that's a reclaimer weapon, right?
Yes.
The background there. But like
which
purple,
means like I guess like no rarity really.
It's just reclaimer. Is that purple because of epic? Or purple because of ammo type, or purple because of they felt like it.
Because the smart rifle is epic. I don't think it's that one. I don't think it's because the smart rifle is epic. I think they did say there'll be like all weapons will have like these tiers, which we could briefly talk about. Obviously, I think this menu here of the upgrades is deliberately done to like you got common, uncommon, rare, epic, and legendary. Which, by the way, very placeholder, but also very like generic and easy to like decide upon. If you know what I mean, it's a very easy thing to just be like, let's just do the basic, rarities and colors, and I would respect that. There's always a chance for another one.
If they did anything extra, it'll be like a red mythical.
Yeah, right? Red mythical, and also maybe there's also like the weird like reclaimer like fixed rarity.
Maybe
that you mentioned, which I think would make sense. Let's talk about this thing quickly. Bastion, which you must have mentioned. Now, I don't know what this is, because it's not the suit ability.
No, that is time dilation, which that makes me think...
perk.
Yeah, like a pre-built... Because that is like, like what they built the character upon, I think is how I see it, if you get what I mean. Like, they chose the Bastion dwarf, whatever that means, right? Maybe the dwarf doesn't matter, but they chose Bastion. Then they built time dilation on top of it. Then they chose the pistol. Probably didn't have much of a choice early on, especially this point.
If you're right about that, that would make sense. There is another,
and then everything builds off.
There is another thing, a passive basically that is not like it's not your loadout. Your loadouts are built within whatever is the pre-selector for this passive ability, I suppose. You're like, I'm going to be Bastion, and then you pick your suit ability and starting weapon. I guess because that's important. It's not an ability, is it? It's a perk. Like it's stat based, and then time dilation is an ability that you like a grenade basically slot. I think is what it's going to be.
Yeah, like that. It's kind of like this is like a play style, right? Out the gate, like you're going to be standing still more, and then you would then use your ability, your weapons to upgrades to like build off of that. That's just kind of going into it, which makes me think, if like. Anything is related to the cosmetics of your dwarf, or like what your dwarf looks like, it's Bastion, right?
Yes.
Like a Bastion dwarf would be like, I don't know, very, very heavy, right? He'd be like a heavy, like gunner looking fella.
Yeah. I mean, I assume this is a completely fabricated silhouette, like not from a 3D model, but that's definitely like, I don't recognize this fella. So it could be a new kind of
big
thing.
cannon.
Like there's being not necessarily hinted at, but just in the sense of like, let's just mock up this silhouette with what
and not an inherently
unfamiliar
recognizable
shape.
gun.
Yeah, an unfamiliar shape. It might not be one of the ones we actually end up making, but it's still like further indication there, maybe of starting weapon kind of stuff. I don't know. But yeah, Bastion itself is the kind of thing where, I mean, I want this in the game. I think I want it in both games.
Yeah. Well, that's the perk rework I've always been looking for. But if it takes an entirely new game, then that'll do me fine. But yeah, so I think I don't know. It is the wild card because they never said anything in relation to Bastion or like that ability, that clearly like important, unchangeable. It looks like as well, right? Like that looks like it's just like a fixture. It's got its own little dip in the bar at the bottom. Like, I don't know.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah.
Like it just seems like everything else is built off of that. It really gives me that impression. And considering, your suit ability, which is what we thought would be, one of the two main choices going into it, it's kind of just tapped on there. Like, just popped,
yes, it is,
popped,
isn't it?
It's just kind of there. It might actually mean that Bastion is more changeable than I thought. Maybe it's as big and as obvious there because you can click on it and do stuff with it, and your suitability
I was actually going to mention that
so
the fact that it's clearly being shown to be clickable, and I think this stuff isn't these two. I think your suitability and starting will be fixed. We've probably talked about this.
Bottom left.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just assumed those are your previous upgrades.
Yeah, it's just like sort of type of upgrade, I suppose, which would imply, based on that everything with this icon is Sweet Surrender.
Picked.
I guess.
I feel like obviously it's all made up. I think all of these things are subject to change.
Yes.
But I feel like there's a lot more like because with these icons you can get very different meanings, right? I think. Like some of them look are quite different, like especially that like skull thing. Like I feel like you could get a bunch of different things and still have that same icon. Like that is saying damage with long range weapons, but you could equally say like headshot damage or critical damage. Right?
Yeah, I mean that's what that symbol is. That is the that's the crit symbol in DRG.
Yeah, but it's not being used like that here. So I think like sure it could like those blue ones could be sweet surrender or. Maybe Sweet Surrender is the epic specific example, or they're just related to healing or health, right? And whatever it is, it's got two blue versions of, right? And then
it could be upgrade categories. So like this one, for example, is like just the reload category. It's not inherently necro reload. And maybe you can hover over it because I do like the way DRG even in itself uses cursor, even in console. So you would probably just hover over it and then it would show all the upgrades in that category potentially. So
I do think that would be a good area to add if we want to reference the problem that we kind of fear earlier, a good area to show a soft lock of higher tier things. Like you cannot pick legendaries every single time. Like you can only have 3 legendaries in the entire game, or something along those lines, depending on how many you would expect to have, right? So like that person who's hogging all the legendaries, they can only do it up to 3 times, and then that's it, right? Like that's. I think if we wanted to think of a solution, which I wouldn't inherently prefer, right? Because then, like, you might pick 3 really good legendaries for your build and then still see another one and you'd be really fucking pissed. And by you, I mean me. I would be pissed. But, like, and, like, nobody else would want it. And it's just, like, you can't take it even though you should. I think there are problems with that idea. But still, I think down in the bottom left, you could show, like, I don't know, what you're allowed to do. If there are problems with people just taking all the high-quality stuff. Right, which I think is possible, and it looks like Jacob is doing. He's stealing the legendary one there.
Yeah,
or at least he wants it, right? That's the heart thing.
Yeah, I think this. I want to first refer back to the description of the On the Horizon segment. This is the kind of thing where very specifically, you want to see like an updated version of this on Thursday. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like whether it's through the footage or not, like the players actually encountering the system, or just another screenshot. I think a finished, or at least completely updated in-game version, at least of this of the upgrade menu, is important for people to see. I think, especially with how much time we just spent on it. Because we'll be doing the same thing, by the way. Like the following week, I think we'll start with the podcast, but I think we're gonna be doing something. We'll probably do something very similar to this after that stream at some point. Anyway, so
I mean, the podcast, it would basically be it anyway. You might as well just, I don't know, do this but podcast. Like,
potentially. Yeah, I mean, I like this format so far.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think that's about all we can extract from this for now.
Yeah.
We could go through each of the upgrades line by line, but we don't need to do that.
Or we could ask what Del Decato meant on the top middle.
It's the player who is playing.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I was also missed to put that cookie down. It's great. Anyway, so yes, I did. What is that? It says upgrade progress loading. Should we start with the arm or the environment?
I think we'll start with the arm because I think it's pretty simple.
Yeah.
Well, actually, two things. First of all, he's got the that looks like it's actually, I guess it's not exactly, but it's very similar to the Dawn of the Dread paint job.
Yes,
armor
I have been thinking about that, and I think that is another very basic mock-up. I don't think it's implying that the Reclaimer's like default armor has that paint job or anything.
But it is also weird that then the other hand doesn't have any armor on it. So it's one arm.
But that's because it's like a suit ability gauntlet, basically.
Yeah,
I think
because he's clearly activating the time dilation, and it's like got a charge up time of, it's like, I don't know, ramping up, I guess, or it's like that currently the time dilation is going on and it's 43% of the way done.
Well, yeah, it's weird because it actually says, well, we have to be careful about how like specific these things are meant to be, or if it's just like very haphazard flavor text, right? Because it says upgrade progress loading. Upgrade progress. Right. As if it's like upgrading itself. And I don't know if we should take that to heart or not, to be honest.
Yeah, that, or like the time dilation is an upgrade that it is installing itself, so then time gets dilated and then it will end, right? Something like that. Like,
I don't know, maybe.
Definitely take it basically anyway. I think it's just safe to say that this is showing you interacting with your suitability. That's probably the vaguest way we could put what this is trying to show. That and the cave.
Yeah, so this is the first indication of a
exclusion zone.
It's the first indication of a pretty fresh environment. Whether or not this is actually intended to be like a one that they follow through on isn't known. This could easily just be like they go to like the guys making these mock-ups and be like, just go nuts, make a crazy new environment, and they just come up with this. But it's still pretty cool. Just about everything about this is slightly different from what we've seen in Deep Rock. I think things like just like the rock and the ground isn't too important. We've got these weird things. And I want to point these out because they've actually like used this material as like a weird like content divider in like Steam posts before, or like I saw it at like the bottom of something. So it's like a weird like just piece of material just sitting there like at the bottom of the page. It's quite odd. I don't think this is Expedite though. Because for some reason, I mean, my caveman brain immediately goes, well, if there's anything valuable in here, it's got to be this. It's got to be,
Yeah and no, but I feel like you think of it, you then put it back. You put it back to Deep Rock, right? Mind, and you think giant glowy crystals. They're worthless. They're
usually worthless. An environment
fun to destroy, but worthless.
Worthless, but fun to destroy. Exactly.
Yeah. So that's probably what more that is. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot. There's like some weird beam things back there, right?
Yeah, well, I think this is still rock.
They barely even make out.
It almost looks like an opening, and they did talk about how when it comes to the wall that I was talking about, it's something that I don't think you're actually cracking through it. The idea is that there are still like ways to get in just by walking, basically, but I think about like a cliff with like the birds' nests, right? How it's just holes in the cliff, basically. You know.
Yeah.
I think it's like going to be something like that, where there are ways through this wall, but they're not ways that a drop pod can get through. They're ways you're going to have to be dropped in, and you're just going to have to find the way through on foot. I think that could be what this is.
And then hopefully there's some creature guarding it, maybe some sort of queen, perhaps.
A queen.
Wink, wink, nudge,
God,
nudge.
the idea of putting Griffith Queen in the first stage is fucking nuts. I really don't think that's going to happen.
I think they should.
I don't even know if it should happen.
This is a unique environment, to put it nicely. I think it's a bit underbaked still, right? I think, like, it doesn't feel like there's much cohesion, right?
Yeah, cohesion is the thing that's mainly missing, but it's kind of enough going on to build something around. And I would say, definitely, not that we can actually see what the walls of this cave look like. We've got the basic rock here, and then the basic floor here, but I would say the walls are kind of somewhere off screen. That it could be this, but this looks like it wouldn't be. This looks almost shinier and more unique than what this cave's general walls would be, which is why I kind of think this is the wall, maybe.
Yeah,
that we're going through in the first stage.
It just goes back a little bit. Yeah,
and if that's right, that would imply that this is like whatever this is isn't actually a core biome, but it also could be. It could have flipped it, or it could just be a basic mock-up.
I would also really love to see what that light source is, because we still don't know if we've got flares as a light source or not.
Yeah, it looks like it's coming from his finger.
Yeah, or it's like behind it is, or it could just be those crystals. But I don't know.
LED finger? Bill finger? Alright, move on.
Why?
I would say not too much to say here, but this is clearly a more elaborate sort of mining station.
On the ceiling, those little bulbous bits, is that not what is in the radioactive exclusion zone?
Yeah, this environment's weird because this is something from the salt pits.
Yeah,
that's salt pits material, but this floor is definitely radioactive exclusion zone. These things are red zone too, but they're normally green.
Oh.
Also, there's Bosco over here. To point that out, I don't think that's important. But that is a Bosco. It's got like the Cyber Ninja framework on. But yeah, Bosco is not going to be in it.
There's a resupply pod in that room as well. Like
resupply pod
in the cage room.
Oh god, it is, isn't it? It almost looked like nothing because it was closed. But yeah, I mean, definitely with the shape and the little where the light is, the light on it too. It does look like one. It probably is, but that's probably not relevant. They probably just plonked it in there as a bit of detail. But I don't know what the hell, if this is something that's going to be translated into the final game, what the hell this big structure is.
I just think we might come across like ruins, as it were, right? Just like abandoned buildings that they made, and it's just going to be like this. Right?
Yeah, it could actually be a building, like what was intended to be like a genuine outpost, you know, where people would like live. That would be kind of cool.
But then obviously just all got purged.
Like, you can imagine DRG sending down like prefab buildings,
like lampposts down at the end. Like, I mean, they've got lampposts. They could have buildings.
Well, I mean, but based on the minecarts, this is like an end of a stage thing as well. Still. So I don't know if the placement of this big structure necessarily matters, but yeah, because I definitely imagine like DRG sending down big like prefab structures, you know, to like set up, and then people can like live down there while they're working in like the black sites,
than bringing them up and down, like,
or the grey sites, yeah. But I think there would be too much guesswork with other aspects of this. I mean, in terms of things that probably aren't actually that important. What the hell is that? Some horrible, like orange Porsche just drove past my house.
Ew.
It's garish.
Porsche.
Yeah, exactly. I think what I'm saying though, I don't think something like this arm is necessarily important. I think a lot of what's on screen here is probably set dressing, to be honest.
It's maybe trying to convey the lore that they're building towards, in that it really gives us the impression that we are looking at a very distant future of Hoxie's occupation. Like right now, we're like, we're popping in with Molly, we're trying to survive, but it seems like this is in a place where they've set up like proper infrastructure, like stationary supply points, buildings, like lights, like paths, stuff like that.
Like, yeah, actually, I mean, honestly, it gives the impression of like a small like research village, if you know what I mean. That's being constructed in the ground.
But they're going to be like everywhere.
And I think that can make sense with what's going on, because I think it being time-wise, like timeline-wise, I think what you're saying makes sense, because I think Season 5 is not like Season 5 is a first chapter of Rogue Core. It is definitively a prelude. It's the first
but not even like a close one.
No.
It's basically like the first encounter of Rogue Core, not Rogue Core, like a deep core creature. And it's in no way because they got close to it. It's just the crystals come up for some reason.
I don't think it's like, I don't think the Morkite seeds are important, to be honest, to that. I think it is just literally the core stone, because the core stone, they know that it's that the core spawn are from. They know that they're not from this level that we're working at currently.
But it might be,
and the core stones, I assume, are very valuable. So it's just like we need to go where these things came from. And that would be a substantial operation. So I think a lot of time probably has passed. Yeah.
Yeah. Like we're in the like inception, and then these guys are like 100 or so years later.
Whoa, 100 years.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't know how quickly they would do all this, but I was thinking, they pushed forward into the core of the planet. That alone sounds like a big endeavor.
Yeah,
then
not 100 years.
Comfy
though.
there. Like,
yeah, well, do you think what I said earlier could also be the case, like that things went to shit as soon as they started working? Though they could have set up, and then it's when they start working that things go up, like topsy turvy. Also, we know mission control will be in the game, so keep that in mind.
But also long lives. That might have to confirm that. Well, that's the law that they're thinking about, Harry. We're going to have answers to these questions, Harry. Maybe not exactly like time-wise, but maybe, and if mission control is in the game, they might have to explain why he looks the exact same.
This is the exact same environment, I guess, as the previous one.
It's showing a really, really high roof.
A very high roof, actually, and just more of these crystals. They definitely. It's hard to say that they won't have some kind of, if these are in the game, that they wouldn't have some kind of interaction or functionality. Perhaps they could just explode, and it would be quite a big explosion, though, if they did, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say this just a generally kind of just cool mock-up of an environment, just showing a different angle. I wouldn't say there's much to point out here, necessarily. Unless that Reclaimer pistol looks different. Which I'm going to be really pedantic here.
Slightly lower.
This area.
Oh, it's sticking out a bit further.
Well, it looks like the clip isn't even there in the previous one. Yeah, I guess that's just yeah, I know what you mean, but I don't think that's anything. If you know what I mean, it's probably just based on like the mock-up and the way it was done.
Yeah,
just a different placement of the weapon model, but this one looks like it's missing a clip, which is why it maybe they just reloaded or something, or just ejected the clip. I don't know. Maybe it's a clip add-on. I have no idea, but not too much going on here.
No, at least not too much.
Unlike this.
Oh, shitty now.
This isn't actually. I don't think this is different in any way. These parts around here.
I think that hand model is literally exactly the same.
Yeah.
Because it's at the exact same percentage number as well. Like.
Yeah.
So they've just like copied and pasted that on.
It's just a fixed thing. Yeah. But we got a couple of things that start sort of from, I guess, this way. This ground. It kind of looks like black ice in the glacial strata. It's like very glassy.
That, or it strikes me as core stone like material in the dark with like a bit of light on it.
This.
Not core stone. Omoran stone.
Oh, this stuff.
Like
then.
What?
Well, this
the
is
floor.
Oh yeah, I guess the floor. Well, the floor's kind of bluish though. Omoran is very like red, dark red. Do you mean this actually? It looks like it changes at this point.
No, it's just the lighting, dude. The green of the upgrade is like making the area around that look. It's all the same material, other than when it turns into ground. I think that's Omoran, the Omoran floor.
I think this is. It looks like nerves, you know.
Yeah,
I don't like it.
The writhingness of that is very disconcerting.
It is very vein-like, and I don't think that's completely
it's like,
accidental.
When you see like a random insect, not like in real life ideally, but like a random insect on the internet where like a tendril parasite is crawling its way out.
Yeah,
it looks like that.
A proboscis.
Yeah.
Proboscis.
Grim.
Yeah, but at the same time, they would be like really out of our depth if we tried to like say what this actually is exactly. But I would say at least assume not just set dressing. There's no way this isn't like tied to potential, because I do believe that mission objectives will still be a thing. Whatever this is, I think there's going to be.
It's causing him to use an ability if we want to read into it that much.
Potentially, yeah. Potentially. That's very potentially though. It could be a bit of a haphazard choice to use this model, you know.
I do like obviously we know this now, like not a single enemy like any of these, right?
No.
I don't think we finished them yet, but like we knew that they hadn't really even like designed the enemies at this point. But they knew what the caves were gonna look like. And stuff like that.
At least had an idea that they needed to have some crazy ideas. And just spew them out into like a mock-up version. Yeah, I mean, as in, you're probably not going to be seeing this formation or these things necessarily exactly, but I hope it represents the level of like differentiation that we're going to see from the environments between the two games. You know, that's what I'm looking for.
I mean, these are the screenshots that made me like think that like the game was going to be a lot darker. I think it's definitely just more accurate that they haven't used any lighting other than natural and like all of these, which I don't know. I think that's where I got the impression of a darker general game.
No,
I'm not just like Bone Rise.
No. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. They've like said that. I mean, they literally got asked like once again, this is from this stream. You know, the thing that was over a year ago. But I guess someone literally asked like in the chat was just like, is it supposed to be like a darker version of TLG? And there's like, yep.
Exactly. Yeah, but darker theme wise or darker gameplay wise?
Well, hold on. Darker gameplay wise, are you literally talking about lighting?
Yes. Like, I don't know, things are dimmer generally, and things reside in the shadows more.
I think so.
Because I can't say pictures they look it, but I think it's just more because they didn't use any flares or anything. Like if they just threw a flare, it'll all glow up and then boom, it's just DRG again. Not that that's a bad thing. I'm just wondering.
Yeah, I wouldn't hate it if it was basically like she didn't have flares, but Reclaimers just had much better headlights or something, headlamps, like just much stronger, or they just radiate light because they're just that powerful.
You know, that's the price you pay. If you want a flare gun, for example, you're gonna have to cost your weapon a lot. Like, you know, that kind of thing.
It would, as far as we know, for the flare gun.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, whether or not flares are in the game is actually not an unimportant question.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't say I could nearly think of a question that isn't important.
It's going to be something that they casually reveal without even really thinking about it. Like they're just going to be like showing off, like I don't know, a new creature in the cave, and as they walk, they'll throw a flare. And they didn't think anything of it, but we'll be like, "Holy shit, flares confirmed!
Flares confirmed. We're gonna get flare upgrades. All missing flare upgrades."
Man, if they added a flare upgrade like area and they didn't add any upgrades just for the fucking evil of it, that would be quite funny.
Yeah. Anyway.
All right, this isn't it. I swear I don't remember like most of these. Fucking hell.
That's fine. I think this is another very
This is
similar
a new
mock-up
pistol
to
model, though.
this one. What?
This one actually has ammo spent.
It does,
so, like,
doesn't
it's not just a
it?
copy paste.
Did any of the others without noticing? No. Okay. It does. So there you go. 50 down to 54. Bro's running out of ammo. But yeah, it's just another mock-up of one of those environments. This is obviously Magma Core, right? But it still has a salt pits thing here, which is why, also... Tyler, I'm going to throw something out here. I'm thinking about the shape of these things. Of these might actually end up being core stones.
Yeah, maybe. It's like a visual representation that they had previously.
It's like literally the same shape.
Also,
it's like just an obelisk.
Really not Magma Core, because like look at the actual ground around the fire. No, look at the hole in the ground. It's light blue, like mixed with magma.
It's quite strong lighting, but I actually can't exactly disagree, even though you debunked one of my theories based on lighting just a moment ago.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's lighting. It's just like the rib.
That is a weird color, actually. That is
all of it. Look, the entire circle. Like picture it as a whole. You can see the rim. Like the close one is a really light blue, and then like you can see that it's lighter blue on the front, which you've now completely covered, and then like you cut it off, and then there's a darker blue as it goes down, and some of it is core magma. It's a fucking mishmash biome. It's like a complete combination of everything at this point.
I mean,
well, this is like glacial magma. The other one was like fucking salt pits and radioactive. Which, I mean, Harry, are you finally gonna get your combination biomes? My God.
Probably not. It could easily just be random stuff. You know, there's no with very little rationale. You know,
just to make it look different. Just went for that.
But the main thing here is the actual interior of one of these buildings. And I'm going to say once again, probably all set dressing still. Like this, obviously, it's a screen, but it still doesn't look like something you would interact with personally.
I completely disagree. Kind of. I think something on that wall is interactable, in one way, shape, or form. They haven't figured it out yet, but I feel like if anything is like alive, because isn't the entire point is that like electric wave shutout turned off like everything, radio silent, the whole place is down. Like
actually,
operational
this is something we can check from the trailer. I think.
Yeah. Because I think, like, you know, those lightings that are on, they're like probably like, I don't know, backup, like, I don't know, like generator, like energy fueled.
Oh, there's actually a lot more text in this trailer than I thought. I'm actually going to try and show it. Oh, there we go. There it is, everyone. Actually. And for you, Tyler. I guess we're going to be analysing the trailer now.
I mean, it's not unreasonable.
No sound, sorry. It's not important. They discovered invaluable mineral exponite close to the core of planet Hoxie's. Multiple deep mining operations are established and the extraction of exponite begins. Okay. Suddenly, and without the warning, the deep mining operations go dark. All attempts at entering the dig sites fail. The core has gone rogue. I still don't know how literally to take that line. Whether it's very just like flavorful and theme oriented, or whether like DRG tangibly knows that something is very deeply wrong and that the planet is fighting back.
Well, they know that like if they can't get this, they can't even get back into those things. They know it's like sealed itself off.
Yes,
basically.
I suppose so. That's what the wall. Yeah, actually, that's the implication of the wall, that we can still sort of. I actually like the implication there that the ramrod is definitively a crew of 4, which means we're all gonna be the same 4 dwarves, no matter what your like player configuration is.
Yeah, no, I think it's even more interesting that like it's only a ship per team, right? Like there's no other people on board that ramrod.
Yeah, it's just
cafeteria,
that makes the Reclaimer so much cooler. By the way, because like implying it's their ship.
They've got their own ship, basically. Yeah, right. And the Ramrod, I'm wondering if you like Ramrods are gonna have their own numbers. That'll be pretty cool.
Yeah, it doesn't technically indicate a power outage. It's just that like an outage. It still indicates everything was like
Everything's gone
fucked up,
dark.
so they couldn't
No
communicate
one
with them,
can
obviously. But
no one can send the messages out or anything. So yeah, maybe it's just the wall around the core that is claimed to exist basically is like blocked all signals coming out and in from it.
yeah,
So
that definitely backs up the idea of a lot of time having passed as well, because it wouldn't make sense otherwise. If we're literally going to be going to a situation where the first stage is going to be the least, there's going to be the least evidence of previous like DRG presence in the first stage. It's going to be once you actually get past the wall that's like seemed to have sealed everything off. That's when you're going to start seeing actual like equipment, because they've got so much stuff down there, and then it just the idea that it sealed it off. It's like fucking Rorschach, where it's like they're like, you're trapped in here with me kind of thing. It just locks them in and then just eats them alive.
yeah, well, I think you can expect to see equipment on, like, if we say the first stage is before you pass the wall, there'll be equipment, but it won't be like broken down or deteriorated. It'll be like still in use, quotation marks, if you get what I mean. So you'll see what things are supposed to look like, as then you go a stage deeper and it like immediately stuff starts like being really fucking decrepit. Like you see, you see a thriving base, probably no one actually in it, for example, but you see something in use, it moving and stuff, and then you'll go into the next stage and it's a completely silent mining operation, just I don't know, remains scattering everywhere.
They actually talked about horror in that first reveal stream, and they talk about how hard it is to do horror in a multiplayer setting because of just the way the way you are when you're playing with your friends and stuff. But they still wanted to drive that home, when it comes to the environments and things like that. And sort of the way things are presented.
It's not impossible. I'm just gonna mention it to you now because I've been thinking about it. But I think plasmaphobia is what it's called.
Plasma.
And that's recently come to
Phasmophobia.
Phasmophobia, something like that. Yeah. That's recently come to Xbox, which I kind of like the look of. But that does co-op horror pretty well.
Oh.
Basically, you and your mates just go in, try and figure out what fucking ghost is possessing this house, and you've got to do a bunch of tests, and then you get shit scared. And I think that's kind of how it is. It's going to be I think if you and your mates ignore the atmosphere, then it won't work. But I think if you're I don't know, it's slightly late at night. This is DRG, by the way. Slightly late at night. You're not all as noisy as you were earlier. The energy's slowed down a bit, and then suddenly you're just kind of immersed in an abandoned, completely isolated, decrepit mining operation where there are creatures of the night, like the fucking core spawn, lurking in the darkness. Yeah, like just kind of waiting for you to go off on your own, and then take you out instantly in some form of a jump scare, right? Basically, with how the leaping is, it really would feel like it. I think that's hopefully where it kind of rides, where it's sure, you can completely ignore the atmosphere if you're having a good fun time. That'll be available, but
I almost want them to make it hard to. It's hard to not be scared into silence. I mean, everyone's just everyone in your party is on edge. It's
everyone just starts making jokes just to kind of keep the atmosphere alive, so they don't have to,
face it.
I don't know. I think it's just that because that'll be just such a fun difference of the games, a genuinely unsettling. I mean, Deep Rock has it rarely. Right, occasionally, you're sitting there and you're like, "Fuck!" I'm deep in a cave. Normally a bit of claustrophobia when the cave generation is really tight for some reason, stuff like that. But if this leads into it as much as humanly possible, without obviously the turning into Oregon.
The characters as well, because the dwarves in DOG, they're just having way too much fun. Obviously, the Reclaimers are dwarves, and I like the way that they describe them too. Mikkel and Mike, they said when it comes to a bar fight, right, between them, if it was the normal dwarves and the Reclaimers, that's probably going to be pretty close. But in any other setting, the Reclaimers wipe them, any kind of tactical setting, that kind of thing, because they're just far more professional, and I think that will make it scarier. they're probably going to be quieter, I imagine. So, and I think that'll be important.
There's like, I don't know, there is like the whole genre of like, I don't know, this is not a phrase that I've ever heard of, but I know it's real, like military horror, right? SCP, for a huge example.
That is definitely a real thing. That's definitely
the amount of like times where it's like a bunch of well-trained military people that go like, called Bravo Tango, so on and so forth, go into a hellhole, like an absolute flesh abomination, and they slowly get picked off like one by one.
Wow,
it's kind of
like
the atmosphere.
Describing the Halo ODST horror game that everyone wants and hasn't happened yet. It's one of the oldest like spin-off ideas for Halo ever. It's like have us play as like not Spartans, and we go into like a flood-infested ship. Luckily, Darkstorm's coming out next year.
Yeah, but like something with that kind of atmosphere where it's like, I mean, obviously, they're dwarfs. They're built from the same material. They like a fight. They like mining.
They're suckled from a teat of stone.
Fuck elves. Yeah,
they don't fuck elves.
Raised in the dark.
They would never do that.
Like, stuff like that. But then ultimately, like, they don't like they don't point at each other and go, we're rich. They'll be like, put the gold in the or carry the gold over. All right, like stuff like that. Like simple.
Says we're rich to get your boots to the groin.
Yeah.
I would love that. I would love if they themselves shut stuff down.
Back to the ramrod.
if the dwarves themselves shut that kind of thing down in Rogue Core, that'd be great. Anyway, stop talking about
like
their personalities.
Big gold. There's a big gold, and you ping it, and it's like no. That's all it says. Yeah. All right, continue with that, unless it's basically done.
I'd say so. Why is this blue? It's also there you go, red sugar, and a flare.
You need to turn me back. I'm still looking at the trailer.
Shit, I'm sorry, bro. There you go. Yeah, no one should see here.
Yeah.
Got the red sugar. We've got a flare on the floor. Yeah, it's blue. This is blue. Why is this blue?
Honestly, I would say just because they're trying the new color.
Yeah.
Or maybe you can pick the color yourself. I'd like that.
I would too. Like in Fallout.
Yeah.
Change the Pip-Boy color because it is quite Pip-Boy-esque. Which is why I do wonder if this thing is universal across all upgrades. It's all just this kind of thing with the ability icon.
I just saw. Flares confirmed, ladies and gentlemen. Let's do this thing.
There you go. Does that help? Hold on, let me put another one in.
Would you say it's darker? I'm not sure. I would.
This whole thing's quite lit. I mean, there's something here.
This cave is like fucking huge. So I'm not sure if they all will be. They probably won't be, right? In fact,
no, they actually talked about how on average I think they're actually going to be smaller because of the kind of pacing that they wanted. Could easily change.
Yeah, but maybe you have less flares. Maybe that's where the darker comes into it. Maybe if I keep pushing this agenda, something might happen.
No.
Yeah.
Stop it.
And Kate Red Sugar, which I don't know why they would do this, but I feel like they should maybe change the way Red Sugar looks slightly. Like, I don't know why, just like it feels so recognizable. Red Sugar, right? Like, this now looks like a screenshot out of the
okay, so that's actually an interesting thing. Hold on, that's actually really interesting, by the way, that you're saying that, right? Because that implies that even just based on the previous screenshots, you haven't been automatically thinking, wow, that's just DRG.
Yeah, there are like a couple things, but this screenshot, I mean, even this one, these do not strike me as from Deep Rock Galactic, the game. But this one, new biome and abilities, and I could completely believe this. That's it. That's all it takes. Right?
Yeah, this looks like it could be a screenshot from something from DRG, from like a
Season 6 is a new cave, and they're adding like tactical abilities, which is obviously weird, foreign, doesn't make sense. But like that's all you would have to believe to think this is straight up in the game next season, right? That's all it would take. With the amount of flares and the red sugar looks the same, it's completely simple and believable. Which is what we're hoping to avoid, ideally. Is
but I think
that
there's going to be so many other aspects of the game that will like be avenues of differentiation.
When there are like no glyphids attacking you, when the weapons are new in your hands and the way you use them are different.
Yeah, the moment when you're the moment you're in a cave you don't recognize, you've got a weapon you've never used in DRG, you're fighting nothing but enemies you've never seen in DRG. That's the moment.
Yeah.
You know?
And the aura is like oppressive somehow, like even more so, like things are just harder to kill, like kind of thing. Like I don't know, but this screenshot gives off just DLC DRG vibe.
Well, wasn't too inappropriate at some time, before this,
no.
before they showed
not
this
far off when this would have been made, really, right? Like,
yeah. We don't know whether these were made after or before they decided Rogue Core would be a game, to be honest. And not just a DLC. Either way, I don't know if it's the last. Oh, it's not the last one, but yeah. But you see what I mean, though, about Magma Core, right? It's obviously got elements of it.
Floor, it's like really.
It is definitely different. Yeah, but these obviously Magma Core geysers. But yeah, it's just a different angle of that one. I've got like a big silo type thing here.
It is like a storage silo place because there were like cans of stuff on the other side. But no, I would say that shack is something. I wouldn't just say those screens are decoration. I say you go in there and maybe that's where you get an upgrade, or you can like change something, right? Like go in there and you can maybe change your tactical ability or like something like that. Like a area.
Well, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me because of the perk thing that we talked about earlier. Where I think when it comes to like where the minecarts are, which is where you deposit, and that's where I do think you get the upgrades. Although actually, hold on, I think they talked about getting upgrades from like a drone that would provide you with upgrades. So Buzzco might be a placeholder for that. I'm not sure. Either way, if there is another thing where you choose something, it could be where you get like your perk if it's separate from the upgrades. Because obviously, if you go back to the upgrade screen, it was just upgrades for your stats. We don't know where the perk comes from, whether it's pre-mission or not. So there could be some along the way other things where you pick up specific equipment like a perk. We don't know, like a module that you attach to your suit. But that technically doesn't show anything unique. What it is showing, by the way, I just want everyone to keep in mind, DRG looks like this. DRG's lighting is this good. So I want everyone to remember that. It's kind of weird for how like simple its art style is. Like DRG's reflections are actually kind of fucking crazy.
You know what I think it really haven't set in, like how radically different it is. Just a building in the cave.
Yeah.
That is not a thing ever.
Yeah, we get stuff like that's sent down and like, but it's clearly not meant to be there permanently. Like, we've got a lot of that. Yeah. Some large things like the mine head and whatnot. But
this is a Deep Rock Galactic house. Barn, even with the silo and some of the other stuff.
Barn, yeah, it's a barn.
Yeah, I
would love to see weird like underground farming shit. Like, I guess that's just what's that game that we played?
Can't remember
what it's called.
Goalkeeper.
No. No, it's like a first-person Factorio style thing.
Oh yeah. Well, that didn't have farming, but yeah, I guess it not mean like the.
Oh.
No, that's like mining.
Okay. But like you find like underground farms because they need to They need to make that would definitely, if there was anything like that, that would imply your long gap theory, where they've set up like underground farms to keep, the workers fed, and there's like artificial suns, not sun, but like artificial sunlight. Like, I don't know, whatever. Oh, it's over. We've moved on from those screenshots.
All right. So when are we now, timeline wise?
This is actually up to that idiot. So these 4 are actually from I believe, is it November last year? It's a long time ago still, because they are from I think the first Below Decks post on Rogue Core. Do you remember that? Designing guns for Rogue Core, whatever it was. And that inspired something. I think there's one of the streams that we did. I would like to find the exact date.
Tectonica, by the way.
That's it, Tectonica. That doesn't sound like it though, but it is.
No, but I've looked at it. They seem to have had a lot of updates. It looks quite different. But not the point. Point is, we looked at these
it was
before.
October. It was like right after the stream, basically. The original on the horizon.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. But yeah.
They did some nice concept art, which I think we can't dig too much because obviously, I think all of these could not be the final result of what a field blaster is. Not that we even know what a field blaster is. Not that they might have even added a field blaster in the end.
Exactly.
Or a shock blaster. I think it might be of note that these are all pistols. And so
you know what? But you know what I want to mention about that is I'm going to skip forward a bit. There you go. We'll come back to that.
Blaster,
but there's some new ones that Frederick's been posting. Oh shit! All pistols.
Yeah.
They are all pistols.
So these could be variants of the pistol. Like you always get a pistol, but what pistol it is up to you to choose.
It's very cowboy, isn't it?
I don't know. This one's like a burst, or just like a. I don't know what impression.
Field blaster. I can almost imagine it, especially with the spherical, or not spherical, but like dome part here. I can almost imagine it sending like a circular wave that expands as it goes. Actually, weirdly enough, or just shoots like a microwave field. I don't know, because that would just be a wave cooker. Then it's kind of hard to imagine what field blaster is if that is like a generic term. Yeah. But then it could be like a generic term where it's like it just means like battlefield or something, where it's like it's just for use in the field. But then I would say these two below imply a bit more of a technological.
And thinking that they're like later almost implies more. But the further along you get, the more you're thinking about stuff, and the more ideas have come to you.
Yeah, but if there's any relation to all the reclaimer weapons being pistols, I actually like that idea because it's very cowboy-esque that their weapon that even though you can choose between them all, they're all sidearms. They're all like things they can flick up and like spin around in their finger. I don't know why I like that idea. It's like they trust in a sidearm more than anything else. I kind of like that.
Like they're all kind of like the last stand with like a 9mm on the ground kind of guys.
And even though this one like shoots like a fucking field of energy,
Yeah. And then the other one's like a shock pistol. I mean, this is like a coil gun. I would definitely say.
This is a Hyperion pistol barrel from Borderlands 2. First of all, but yeah, charge blaster. Yeah, exactly. It does sound very coil gun. So you can imagine it being very spitball, or it could be like a very like more just like a ray gun than the coil gun is. So no like energy field around it, or like trail. It could be charge and like pew kind of thing.
The only thing is that I think if these things were inherently reclaimer weapons, they would feel like probably more synonymous. Like
well, you would say synonymous with something,
Like like they would have the same pattern in their design. If you get what I mean.
Yes.
Like these two weapons, they're the same concept, yet they're radically far apart. Which I feel like if you are going along with Charge Blaster, also part made by like the same people for the same people, or so on and so forth, they would be a lot closer together. But there is literally nothing but the fact that it is resembles a pistol that are in common between these two things, right?
Yeah, you can almost wonder if the answer to that is
revolver.
You almost wonder if the answer to that is just that they don't want to show any of the bigger guns. It could literally be the case.
But it definitely seems like, as far as you can tell, this guy is in charge of adding a lot of secondaries or a lot of pistols in the game.
Yeah, there's more expansion on the field blaster, which I guess implies that this is more
developed.
These are the newer
ones, right?
No. These are the older ones. These are the older ones.
Okay.
But I still imagine there's a chronology to these images.
It seems like he definitely liked the bulbous end.
Exactly, that's what I mean. I think these are in the order that they were shown in the post. So I do think this is like the Field Blaster taken those designs further, because it's going to look like one of those. That's the path they're going down. And then you've got multiple versions of the dome thing. I prefer this one.
If I had to guess, he tried something else with A. Right, he was like, all right, I like the rounded front, but I'm not sure about the exact pattern. But then was like no, I like the I don't know, turtle shell.
Well, yeah. So do you want bubbles or holes?
Yeah.
Like, it's got holes in it. It's got protrusions here. I prefer this one personally. Also, I think it is definitely like a field thing where it's like going to send out something. We've got like the waves coming up here, and they're going to come out like in this kind of way, like exponential. I just question
the need for something to come out in that kind of way. I guess it could be more of like a shotgun-y kind of thing.
Shotgun, like a safe, or reliable, like ultra long wave disruption, where it's like it expands out to the size of the cave, but it's like all it does is stun or something.
I think damn well it's not going to do
that. Why is there a break here?
Because I think it just is. I mean, the other ones have had scratches in it. I think it's just like their design or like thing. But I think I do remember like this shit. There's a reason why I did that stream later on. This is damn near inspiring. Like, this is like if I had to do a folder of like I don't know, design, like cool stuff, like this stuff would be on it.
It shows the power of shading though, because these are literally 2 color sketches.
Yeah,
when you look at them, and all it is like one color for the detail,
rough, but they're also really fucking like clean at the same time.
Yeah, they are. They're actually really nice. Frederick,
like if you look at the A, like on the back, like middle curved part, that is a really rough, like one attempt ring, but it still looks really fucking nice.
Which part?
Like this, like
or this. Which one?
I didn't see anything.
What you see?
A at the back of it, like like I would say, like it's like a pizza cutter part. Like that is not a perfect circle, right? At all.
No.
But it's still like that just shows how rough it is. He's like basically did it all in one go. It never really means that much, but it's still so fucking clean, and like concise. At the same time, I don't know, it's really nice.
Also, just like silhouette design coming in is one of the most important things in like games, especially games where you're not going for like just an absurd amount of weapons or something, or even especially if you are actually, the silhouette of weapons is extremely important. I find this already kind of recognizable. They're clearly going for the idea of like bulky pistol with the rounded front is going to be such a like it's clearly important. They've taken that, it's like that's what's defining this weapon, like shape wise.
You can tell how the weapon shoots by the front, and that is true for both of these, which was not the case previously, right? Which I think is why he ditched the other ones, right? But these two both convey a wide spreading of like an attack. I don't know. Yeah.
All right, got a shock blaster now. Just wow.
Yeah.
All over the place.
Very sci-fi.
Very sci-fi.
Like, I mean, most of them have been, in all fairness, but these are like rival tech.
A little bit, yeah. I was looking at them and I was like, "Are there any floating parts?" I don't think there aren't any floating parts though. But yeah, for sure.
Floating parts, but they're just like holes for sci-fi, or like maybe they're not actually holes, but they're like big round discs. Like there's gonna be a lot of spinning by the looks of it, right? Like the bottom two, definitely the front part while shooting spins. Like I don't know. I quite like them.
I want to bring something up actually. It's going to help us with this a little bit. It's called the 4 Bug Zapper, and what this is a weapon from Survivor, actually. And you can see what I'm bringing it up.
Yes.
There it is. And this is actually it, because in Survivor you don't see your weapons. They just do stuff, so you only get the outline in the style of like the other.
I assume this is just like the electric gun in the game.
Yeah, it's literally a sidearm, because they also have an overclock for sidearm type weapons called sidearm, which makes it weaker, makes everything else stronger. So it's literally an electric pistol. It just shoots an electricity. It shoots an electricity, and that's what you'd expect the shock blaster to be. To be honest, if we go back to
it is kind of a question, like how Like,
I'm just saying,
think,
this doesn't shoot a physical projectile. This shoots lightning. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. This is going to be like a electric burst, or like a like breach cutter, not breach cutter, the other one, laser beam one.
Shard diffractor.
Yes.
But why?
It's going to be like that, but electric.
Oh yeah, here. Okay, no. Okay, I see what you mean. Yeah, more like that, or like, cause the bug taser is like, it's like a short burst of electricity. It's why I do wonder if there's going to be like a uniformity where they actually just make the bug taser.
Well, that I think is very interesting, because it's like, if they don't, that is an active decision, if you get what I mean, or like, it's like they do not care, or do not like hold any weight to any weapons that Survivor comes up with, right? Because if they did, basically that weapon's made, they need to bring it into this universe to keep continuity. But if they don't, then there isn't any, and it doesn't matter, which I'm not saying is a bad thing. It will definitely free everything up, especially since I think I like D quite a bit, and that looks quite different to the other one, which I think is, to be honest, not too great.
It invokes shock so well, like, as in best out of all of them. I don't know if there's a later shock blaster one, which is why I think we might want to let's go through the guns. Oh, see, look at that. I think there's actually shock blaster again. Yeah, so these
looks a lot like the thing from Halo, right? Like the little thing where you shoot and then there's a bit of electric damage after.
Yeah, so these ones are what Frederick's been posting over the last week, actually. Which I think I don't think that means he's been doing them within the last week, but they're probably more further along, right? If we're right about that, and like where there's like less sketches, it means it's a more developed, like, chosen route for the weapon.
Getting closer to
that definitely implies less like Tesla type attack, you know?
Yeah,
and more like
I can't
pistol.
tell if those round things are like big holes or like just like clean plates.
I think it's a hole. I think it's gonna be like a thing that spins around.
It's gonna be like a coil generating electricity or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, something like the Disruptor from Halo, where it shocks enemies. It's like it's mostly kinetic, but then shocks enemies as well. But it's a study.
The thing is, I think I still think that previously D is better than these two.
Yes, I agree. But
if you are running under the idea that there is supposed to be some form of cohesion, and that these are alternate versions of Reclaimer pistols, these fall a lot closer in line to that, right? Yeah. Like, B looks very similar to the Reclaimer pistol, but slightly more electric, right? You could call it exactly that. And then A, I think, is even further, right? Like, A is quite defined. But yeah, I think if it is true, and maybe that's what's happened, right? Is that they've kind of whittled that closer to being the case. Like, previously, he was just making pistols, running with the idea of shock blaster. Now he is aware that, you know, like there is a design philosophy behind, you know, the Reclaimer weapons that he's been given or has come up with himself, and therefore has had to change to this kind of thing.
Big hole in the middle. That's the uniform.
Yeah, he liked that part clearly. Well, no, that's just the shock part that he liked from the previous designs. I think he liked the idea of the spinning stuff, and yeah,
in case
like,
you haven't seen the hole yet.
Yeah, or it's a round plate. Either way, spinning is going to be involved there when you're shooting.
Absolutely, you can't have like obvious rings in weapons that don't spin.
Yeah,
they got to spin.
I do prefer B quite a bit, though.
I think out of these two, I actually do prefer B. It's very.
I like the heavier front.
It is definitely heavier. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to see where it would actually shoot. I guess the barrel will be here, but you can't see it.
Yeah.
But it's like there's weird gaps here. I don't know. It is actually kind of hard to imagine what it would shoot exactly, because I wouldn't want it to just be a projectile.
Well, they might have also changed how it shoots. That might have caused the design change as well, to be honest with you. Because it doesn't strike me as much as a, you know, laser beam electric version anymore, right? Even A doesn't convey that particularly well, I would say. No. It does strike me more as like I don't know, now, and then that's just kind of it, like shoot a bolt of lightning rather than a beam.
Yeah, I could see B shooting a bolt of lightning, very fast. Potential, yeah, I don't know.
Like a small charge up bolt, something like that. Like
if it is like that, it could be it could be free shot magazine. These are free charges that have to be replenished. Hold on, just in case you don't understand numbers. There you go.
1 minus 2 minus 3
equals
F
minus 4.
Yeah, no. So how many of these do we have now then?
We got.
He's still doing them.
Yeah, actually, this is why it's, obviously this video will be outdated by Thursday, but it's still going to be outdated by tonight because he's going to be posting more.
Well, if anything, go check that out because I bet they look cool, and I'm gonna probably should be checking them out really.
Exactly, and I will link his Twitter in the description. Because this stuff's just so cool. Ambient Blaster, though, this is something that he seems to put a lot of care into. There's 3 of the rest of them are all dedicated to this thing. They're quite different. But in this, first of all,
it's very hard to define what an ambient blaster is.
That's what I was going to say. The name is so like, what is that for a gun? What is an ambient weapon?
I would say it's like sets the mood, right? And like I don't know if that means that this pistol, like. Because if these are old, right, this ambient blaster could be them redesigning the Reclaimer base pistol, right? And then whatever the design comes up with this, everything else kind of works off of it, right?
It explains why a lot of this is very attachment focused. Because you have a suppressor on this one. You have a very clear, I think, I would say more of a sight addition here, like an ACOG here, and a complete like configuration, something that looks more like an SMG here. You know? Yeah,
like B is like, I mean, A is not far off, but B is like a pistol. That's just like modern pistol with a couple extra things to it, right? Yeah. But then like A is slightly more sci-fi with the handle, I would say, or like stock. Not stock, handle. But then you got like laser sight and a big silencer on it. And then you're getting further with C, and then D is like
D's not like a crazy design,
that is still
but it's
a regular pistol.
The fact that this is supposed to be the same weapon is like that's, it's quite an evolution, and it does look so much like an SMG. It's like, well, what is this weapon how is it intended to work? Is it a machine pistol or something? But it's very strange. Also, this is definitely
the fact that he came up with a base pistol. It just feels like the fact that B exists means that this shoots like I don't know, the Sabata, for example, right? It's just a regular like 9mm equivalent.
Like this grip is so real.
Yeah. That's literally. I mean, that's like blander than the stocks grips we have in real life. Like that is like
pretty much
less to it. Like I don't know. That's interesting.
And you have, like,
and then from what I saw, when you skipped ahead
again,
it gets.
But it's like,
is
it the same weapon? Is it really? Why is this sparking? Why is why is this? But they're all so like, what is this shape? I like this shape. I like that.
It could also ambient blast. I don't know. It could just be like make pistols, see what happens. But like it's like a circle for the finger to go in.
Doesn't have to.
I mean, there's not much space for your for a dwarf finger in D, really, is there? Jesus.
I beg your pardon. No,
it's quite tight.
I beg your pardon. And this is like clearly this is a magazine. Clearly, and actually, in all of them, I would say the magazine is clearly where it's shooting from is clearly stored somewhere else. Oftentimes, in weapons like these, it is in the stock or the grip. Sorry, actually. So magazine's in here somewhere. But in one like this is where the ammo is stored, right? Surely. And it's like it will come out the side, like it will click off.
Yeah, it will have to come out the side, yeah.
And then clip it back on.
I feel like the back plate on B, on the top, is probably where it is or something. Like,
yeah, this almost looks like you press this button and then like this part like flips out, you know, or something like that. Yeah, much bigger grip. This grip is quite large. These grips are quite big. Was this like a boot?
Yeah.
That's great. But yeah, that's the thing about this one. I just cannot guess what it actually is as a weapon.
And then I think this
doesn't matter though, because there's something going on with this one. There's something going on.
I think he almost there's no letter next to it. I think that's like a final design.
Yeah, but I feel there's almost more going on with it than that. What's this?
Yeah.
What's this? What's this all
it's
about?
It's got a logo and a charm on it.
The logo is cool, definitely, but the charm is almost, well, at the same time, the thing about the charm is, right, if this isn't, you don't put weapon charms there, you know what I mean, as a customization option. That kind of indicates it's just part of the gun, which is in of itself is kind of cool. It's kind of weird because you wouldn't typically do that, especially with how futuristic the rest of the gun looks. This is clearly being put on by the dwarf, I'd say.
It's like, what even is that? Like a Gifford tooth?
Yeah, it must be a tooth. Must be.
Yeah. I feel like,
and then there's this one. I love this.
Not...
These ones don't have the shading, right? These don't have the blue. Yeah. This one doesn't have a letter, and then there's this fella. I like him. I didn't notice that before.
That's just like him working on something else. That's just a doodle.
Like, it does feel like a doodle.
Like someone else in the office wanted to give it a go. Right, they came along and they were like, "Oh yeah, I could do the same thing." And then that's what happened, and they thought it'd be funny if they left it in. I think that's quite possible.
Yeah, but I do think this is a very fair. If you're right about it being like a final design, I think it's fair. It's got a good shape.
It gives off that energy. I mean, it's not much more detailed than the other ones, but it's more detailed than those ones, and it doesn't have a letter, which I think that's the main thing. He's not picking between stuff anymore.
He did say something. He said, "Here is the last piece of concept art for the ambient blaster, a rugged tactical piece of high-tech firearm for badass Rogue Core dwarves." Tactical piece of high-tech firearm, so it's high-tech. So it could, and they do call it a blaster. So I don't think it's like a basic
So it could
pistol.
be like the plasma version of the like base pistol, if you want to call it that, right? Like it's maybe that is something.
Yeah. It's very it could just be like very like space blaster type thing, kind of like Star Wars.
I've like, I don't know why, but I've just suddenly seen like a face in that gun. I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah, it's
like a shark or something.
It's cool.
Like
where?
No, like
in this one.
Think of it as like a shark facing, like looking right. Like you can see his mouth. Got like a snout.
Are these the eyes?
He's got the eye. He's got eyelashes.
He's got two eyes.
No. Like
squint a little bit. These are his weird teeth. He's got two eyes here.
Okay,
like a big mouth.
If you want to make him look silly, yeah.
It looks goofy as hell.
If you think of like the I don't know, the gap between the top and the middle, like you see that big gap there, like the
it kind of looks like
this
kind of looks like Saddam Hussein hiding spot.
Yes, it does. All right, moving on.
Well, let's go back. The last thing we're going to talk about is this. And thank God we get to talk about it, because this, ladies and gentlemen, is a piece of concept art from the Ghost Ship Dispatch, which is the monthly newsletter that you can sign up for. I'm not being paid for this. I wish I was. But yeah, it started last month. The first issue since it's been relaunched, like from ages ago, is when it actually first started. But yeah, we get straight up bit of Rogue Core concept art here, and it's really cool because it's showing off, I would say, I guess 3 things.
A new enemy, at least.
Yeah, well, maybe that should be the last thing. Let's talk about the dude first. First of all, what you said. This is clearly this guy is probably in loads of drawings, like the exact same version of him. But he does, in my opinion, look like a generally more serious fella. I don't know. He's got good vibes. got massive forearms as well. Like this guy is more muscular and fatter than the Deep Rock dwarves.
He's just got more dwarf in him. It feels like. Yeah. And then like pretty quick, he's ragdolled in still a silly way, right? Let's not kid ourselves. He looks quite silly, goofy when they're happening to him, which I feel like that is maybe where they might derive some comedy, because they'll definitely still be there because they're not that serious of a company. Let's be honest. Like, so the comedy will probably be like serious dwarf, like alpha mega, let's get in this, let's get this shit done, and then it gets like picked up and thrown down like a fucking ragdoll.
I think they're definitely going to have like I mean they definitely have like silly and exaggerated like expressions and exclamations, where like in general it's just like very sad. They sound much more serious than the standard dwarves, but as soon as like something like this happens, it goes oh, oh, ah! It's like that kind of thing.
Yeah. Then like I don't know, one of the teammates like watching it. It's like, oh wow, would want to be that guy.
That's what I was gonna say.
Like that, I don't know.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah. Actually, let's talk about the creature. The creature. That's me. It's the same in all of them. But yeah, this is very clearly. And by the way, I do want to mention it's actually some concept art left out and what I left out is from the first post about the core spawn crawler. And the reason why I left that out is because that enemy is in Deep Rock now, so we kind of know what its finished form looks like. Even if it gets tweaked slightly. Cool stuff. Yeah.
All the concept art is. I honestly, some games do this. I fucking hope they do. Release a a book.
Art book.
It doesn't have to be physical, but most art books are digital nowadays.
Well, you say that,
I would love an art book.
They're actually dedicating a segment of the On Horizon stream to like a big like merch like relaunch, and that's because I think they're actually putting a lot of effort into it. And if there's an art book in there,
like they're doing it, I assume this time.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be their store. I think it's gonna be something that's what they want to be permanent. Or at very least not as temporary.
Still probably be like mostly run by fans, or like content, the stuff in it, fans will probably like.
Except something like an art book though, which would be awesome.
Yeah, an art book that they would make, which I would honestly
cop
really
that.
Want.
Get it for each other for Christmas. Yeah, but this creature, very clearly a core spawn. It's not the exact same colours, but it's got face opening. It's got the sort of quadrupedal but still animalistic vibe, where it's like it's something that's on all fours. It doesn't have to be, but he's a bit more animal like, really, isn't he? He's a bit more like a bear than like a golem.
Yeah. He's built like a fucking bear. Like him.
Yeah, I just want to say, whatever this is, there will definitely be an enemy that is like this, like a core spawn, behemoth type. Well, I want a behemoth to be bigger. I don't know which guy would be like the core spawn slammer or something like that. But face opening, very Demogorgon as well. I mean, especially because like the one in game doesn't have teeth like that,
right?
And this isn't a face. He doesn't have a face. He's just got the vessel.
The
protrusion.
The spew. He's gonna look like a flower when he opens his mouth.
Yeah, it's gonna be beautiful.
And then you're gonna get fucking thrown. I don't know. This is quite mean. I mean, it's only gonna get worse, but I'm really starting to get looking forward to Rogue Core, which I mean, I guess it's not too far away now. Right?
I wonder if it's like heavy armor and this is actual flesh, and that'd be weird. Like heavy armor right next to flesh.
You'd definitely gain a lot from being able to shoot him in the mouth. Like
yes,
like while your friend is getting absolutely the shit kicked out of him.
You just shoot him in the mouth, and he should just do a backflip from like the gravity, like fucking him up. It just goes back in. He just flies into the air. Just flies.
Yeah. I mean, it does beg the question how high you're gonna fly. Like maybe if it's like no one. It's like it's almost a grabber. If you get what I mean, like that creature will keep letting you go up until like it can't anymore.
Well, if it's a grabber, if it's a grabber, that would. So this one I want to talk about ragdolls though. If this implies dwarven ragdolls, and I don't need it to as much as I want dwarven ragdolls, more specifically enemy ragdolls while alive. But I don't necessarily want that from this creature. I'd rather it be producing a field that does this to you when you're in it, but you could potentially still move. It would just, if you don't move or maybe it does make you move slower, so you need to be like at the edge of it if you want to escape in time. It does just lift you up and slam you down, and you take full damage in that way. It's not like necessarily turning you into a ragdoll where you're like essentially out of control. I don't necessarily need to do that. It can be a thing where you go up and
maybe
down.
you do lose access to like your weapon, right? Like you can see your arms like flailing around on your screen, but like you still have control, and you'll be first person anyway, so the ragdolling would be a bit odd, unless it does throw you into third person, but that would be quite weird.
Yeah, I do wonder if it's meant to be like a spew type attack, or if it's more like a beam that is actually encasing the dwarf and then lifting them up and down. I don't know.
I mean, it looks very gaseous.
Yeah, it looks like a field of like matter or like some kind of mist.
It's like a Praetorian breath that like lingers, and if you get caught by, you get fucking dead.
And that's not crazy either. Like the Praetorian is the basic glyphid tank enemy, and yet it has like a poison breath attack. You don't expect the basic tank enemy to immediately dip into like a weird, like a non-standard attack, right? The core spawn Praetorian having like a gravity slam isn't like crazy. It's crazier than the Praetorian,
especially one that it breathes. So, like it does translate. And this isn't anything, but this is like a hope. But like technically, you can only see 3 legs. Not that you would be able to see the 4th one. I think it'd be really fucking funny if it's like a tri-legged thing.
That's so stupid.
It's like really heavy on the front, but it just has like a tiny little back leg that's doing its best to like keep it up. I think I would like that quite a bit.
Oh god!
But it's probably. I mean, you would hope, and I do believe at this stage, this creature, could be could be made already, 3D wise.
Yeah,
in the game.
This is the kind of guy. If he's like done, I'd love to see him.
Of course,
I'd love to see him on Thursday, like in action, if possible.
Yeah, or at least just see him in like it's like part of a horde. It's like a thing. Like, oh man. Because once again, I don't know. I feel like if we're wrapping up, like we're getting close to this point, right?
This is the last one.
Yeah. Like if we're wrapping up, I feel like it is like early next year when we can expect a playtest, like an early access thing. So the game at this point should be damn near playable. As in,
we know it's playable.
It kind of is.
We know there's something about it is playable. It doesn't mean like a playable game in the sense of like from like you download a game, you start like a save file that is like your save data, and you go through this progression of the game. But there's definitely playable like runs and like moments and levels, like, at least. And I also assume like at least they start off like the hub as well that can be walked around. They're probably separate at the moment still, I'd imagine. But it can just that's the kind of thing that you would at least bind together when it comes to putting out a pre-alpha. Either way, first of all, there will absolutely be a link to the newsletter or where you sign up for the newsletter in the description. So please go and do that. It's really cool. I'm sure there'll be more stuff like this.
Although also you do have permission to make a video when it comes out yourself. So
I'm not doing the first issue because it's just too late for it to. It's just be weird. Also, another reason why I'm not doing it is because I have to. If I do, I have to read out the email that Aaron sent me in reply, in his voice. Yeah. And I'm not ready for that.
Don't do that.
I'll do that. No, I have to. He said you can do it under 2 conditions. It's like that you include a link, and you also do this. And I'm like, okay, I guess I got to do it. So that'll be in the next, like when the first video, like on the that'll be the November issue of the Ghost Ship Dispatch. But please check it out. I want to reiterate, we're not sponsored. Yeah, probably. I want to reiterate, not sponsored, but we will take a sponsorship.
You read the email.
I've got to read the email in his voice. Not the dispatch is fine. I can do that however I want. But the email, I have to read the email he sent me in his voice, which is weird because I've got to read that like instruction in his voice. I have to reread it to make sure that's what he wants, because I don't want to get it wrong. Anyway, I think that's it for this.
All right.
I think that's all of the basically unblossomed concept art from Rogue Core. That's what I mean. That's why the core spawn stuff isn't in here. That has come to fruition. But yeah, and maybe it will be blossomed on Thursday, which is something. The On the Horizon stream is something that we fully intend to live stream. Right, I'm gonna say the only reason I wouldn't is if my current university project group want to meet on Thursday, and I just don't think I can get around that. I can get around skiving off of, all the set stuff, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But if it's 3 other people and they're like, this is the time that works for us, I don't know how I can explain. I don't know how to do that. But we fully intend on streaming
your job actually demands you to be there because you are getting paid for this, Harry. All right. So maybe you can fucking turn up when important stuff's going on. You're always on holiday when a new season comes out.
I hate that
Jesus.
so much. It's happened
We've only been on YouTube when only a couple seasons have come out, from 2 to 5.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. So which is why I weirdly said a couple, because technically we've been on YouTube for a majority of the seasons.
Yeah, but somehow every time a new one comes out, that's exactly when you go.
Yeah, I think even season 2 was I was on holiday when it was being the teasers were happening, at least. Even though that was different. It was mainly season 4 and 5 were both in June, and that's when we went on holiday. But then again, not true, Tyler. I was still home before it came out.
Yeah.
So I don't know what you're talking about, actually.
It's not just for us.
Dumb as bricks, idiot. Yeah, there were certain things, and I had to make a video while on holiday, which kind of sucked actually. And then my family were like, "Why don't you just leave that stuff behind?" It's just it's time sensitive. It just is. There's no point making a trailer breakdown when I get home.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Anyway, you'll catch us soon no matter what. There'll be an Overclock showcase on Tuesday. We will cover that stuff, whether it's on the day or the next day,
or both.
Or honestly, even if I end up being there, I'll probably just come home no matter what, even if I still have scheduled stuff, and then we'll just probably just do a video. I don't know if I feel if we're not there for it live, then it's no point it being live. I feel right. Yeah. Okay.
Although we do talking, I do when it's live because
it's great.
There are a couple of people that come in the chat, and it's quite fun.
We've put the intent to, but I won't it will only happen I'm not gonna set up a live stream now or anything. It will only happen if it happens. Anyway, hopefully we'll see you then. Until then, if you enjoyed this, please make sure to like and subscribe. And as always, if you want to see more videos like this and you want to stay up with everything to do with Deep Rock and Rogue Core, especially right now, then please click the bell as well. And as always, thank you to our member, Boxfoot Scoot. You keep the lights on, doesn't he?
My lights are off at the moment, so I wouldn't know. Yeah, I guess we don't need him.
That's all for today. Say goodbye, Tyler.
Goodbye, the creature.
The creature. Oh, why'd you have to say that? Goodbye, evil Larry. Goodbye. That dates us again. It's such a dated video, inherently. Yeah. Bye, everyone.